I'm Stephanie Dance Barnes, Dean of the College of Science and Health, and I also extend my welcome and thanks for joining to celebrate our students. At commencement, universities traditionally exercise one of their most cherished privileges by recognizing individuals who have distinguished themselves in their careers. Today, DePaul University is very proud to honor such an individual through the conferral of an honorary degree. President Manuel, Provost Ganem, it gives me great pleasure to present Dr. Inger Burnett-Zeigler. Dr. Inger Burnett-Zeigler is a leading expert and advocate for mental health and wellness. She is a licensed clinical psychologist and an associate professor in the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at Northwestern Feinberg School of Medicine. She has over 2 decades of experience helping people with stress, depression, and trauma and learning coping strategies to live their fullest, most joyous lives. Dr. Burnett-Zeigler's scholarly work examines the role that societal and community factors play in disparities in mental health illness and treatment and mitigating barriers to mental health care among marginalized populations. She conducts community-partnered research aimed at improving access to and participation in high-quality, evidence-based mental health care. Dr. Burnett-Zeigler's public voice has elevated the discourse around mental health. She lectures widely in academic, nonprofit, and corporate spaces on mental health, trauma, and mindfulness. She has written dozens of articles of other publications and has been featured in the New York Times, Chicago Tribune, Good Morning America, and CNN. Her highly regarded book, Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen: The Emotional Lives of Black Women, reflects her commitment to advancing the mental health dialogue. Dr. Burnett-Zeigler is a trailblazer in the community. She is actively involved with several nonprofits, city and state agencies to promote mental health and healing. Her authentic dedication to create safe spaces for people to discuss and take care of their mental health is admirable and inspiring. She exemplifies integrity and a commitment to making a positive difference in people's lives. Today, Dr. Inger Burnett-Zeigler, DePaul University, is proud to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. It is my honor to present our commencement speaker, Dr. Inger Burnett-Zeigler.
President Manuel, Board of Trustees, and the Commencement Committee, Deans Dance Barnes, Milbauer, and Green Rogers, faculty, staff, and alumni, and the incredible class of 2024. My deepest gratitude for this honor and congratulations. I remember so clearly the day that I sat in a seat similar to the one you're sitting in now, in a stadium not too different from this one. I'd majored in psychology, had a job lined up to be a research assistant, and my eyes set on getting my PhD in clinical psychology. The excitement that was felt among me and my family and friends who had come from all over the country to celebrate was electric. We stayed up late the nights before, going to our favorite places, already reminiscing the times we had, and eagerly awaited the opportunities that would come next. Today, I hope that you pause to take in these moments, to savor in the joy of this accomplishment, to honor this space and the people that are sharing it with you, and cherish this day for a long time to come. I stand before you today, a girl from the South Side of Chicago, lifted up by the strength and resilience of my ancestors who laid the foundation. My maternal grandmother, Burnett-Zeigler, who migrated as a single mother from Montgomery, Alabama, to the housing projects on the west side of Chicago, earned her bachelor's degree at the young age of 62 by attending night school through a program offered by her employer, the Illinois Department of Labor. My paternal grandmother, Rosie Burnett, a homemaker from rural Louisiana, who did not go to college herself but sent all 14 of her children to college, including my father. My father, Roosevelt Burnett, who after serving in the Army went to college and graduate school and had over a 40-year career in education at Chicago Public Schools as a teacher and a principal. And my mother, who is here today, who attended Chicago State University just down the street while working part-time at the neighborhood grocery store, and also had over a 30-year career in education in Chicago Public Schools as a teacher. I am the child of people for whom the ascertainment of education did not come easy, but nonetheless was a deeply held value and priority. Horace Mann, 19th century pioneer in American public schools, is famously known for saying, "Education is the great equalizer of the conditions of men," and my parents and grandparents certainly believed in that. Not just in terms of creating access to jobs and income, but also in terms of being the thing that liberates our minds, expands our view of what we believe to be possible, allows curiosity and creativity to run rampant, and fuels our ability to courageously consider what others deem as impossible. In one of my father's many speeches about the importance of education, he used to say, "I'm not just sending you to school just to get a job. I'm sending you to school so that you can learn how to critically think." As a teenager, I didn't really know what he meant at the time, but it became more clear in later years when I had difficult decisions to make or problems to solve. Like, what do you do when someone else doesn't see the value in your ideas, your vision? Do you persist, trusting in yourself and your inner wisdom? Or do you concede to the self-doubt that can emerge when you're left without validation? While the number of people obtaining college degrees has increased in general, and the number of Black and Indigenous people of color receiving college degrees has also increased, we are living in a time where inequity persists, and there remain significant disparities between who gets to sit in a seat like yours and who doesn't. These inequities in access and education are closely tied to other inequities, such as in employment, income, housing, healthcare, health, well-being, and even life expectancy. The life expectancy for people with a college degree is 83 years old, a full 8 years greater than it is for those without a degree at 75 years old. While the opportunity to learn freely and think critically, as you have had for the last several years, should be a right, instead, it is a privilege. College educated is a privileged identity that you now carry, despite whatever other identities of social disadvantage that you might have. And with that privilege comes great responsibility. Without knowing you individually, I know that you have already shown yourself to be strong and resilient by nature of what you have had to endure over the last 4 years to get here today, and thus capable of living up to that responsibility. I'm going to assume that for some, if not most, to arrive at this day was not easy. 4 years ago, around this time, we were in the height of a global pandemic that was a propelling force in significantly altering how we function as a society. As our world has shifted over the last 4 years, we have also engaged in the arduous process of rethreading the moral fabric that binds us together in our humanity. In doing so, we've had to contend with the hard questions of whose lives matter, who gets to be included, who is deserving of protection locally and abroad, who gets to make decisions about their body, whose pain and suffering is believed, taken seriously, and acted upon. As this was happening around you, you were coming of age and deciding who you are, not only making the hard decisions of what to major in, what internship to apply for, who's gonna write your letters of recommendation, and what job to go after, but what you believe in, what you speak up for, what or who you fight for, what your contribution to society will be. To be sure, the process of self-discovery and self-determination is a hard one, especially now when there's so many forces around you that make you question who you really are, especially when you're operating within well-established institutional frameworks that have been crafted to advantage some while requiring others to justify or defend their merit. Youth and young adults now are more anxious and depressed than ever. The pressures to perform, to achieve, are leaving far too many people doubting themselves and feeling not good enough. The pressures to maintain a certain image, to hold a standard set by the highlight reels on social media, are leaving far too many people putting themselves down. The pressure to have it all figured out to meet a preset idealistic idea of how things in your life are supposed to unfold and in what time frame are leaving far too many people locked out of the beauty of what you can experience when you embrace the unexpected. I know that you are strong and resilient because despite these pressures, you are here. Perhaps you've worked through them, perhaps you still are, but you are here. You have shown yourself to be able to confront a challenge, to be someone who can push through and do hard things. And for that, I salute you. Shortly after I graduated from college, my father said to me, "You got the degree, now what will you do with it? What difference will you make?" I say to you, my friends who will be walking across this stage in a few moments with degree in hand, what will you do with it? And I ask you to consider the following invitations. I invite you to hold your privilege responsibly, to use your privilege to be the great equalizer, to be a disruptor rather than one who maintains the status quo, to use your talents in the service of the goodness of mankind. As you transition from this stage of life to the next, I hope that you live out DePaul's mission to prepare agents of transformation and affect systems of change. I hope that you know the value of your ideas, the power of your voice, your worth separate from anything you will ever achieve, and the meaningfulness of your presence. I hope that you are unafraid to be wildly free, that you may always be the light and bring the light, and be your fullest, most unapologetic version of you. Class of 2024, thank you and congratulations.